Just mic'd up with Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J. Mitch. We got Jackie Boy.
He tried to jump up and he might have knocked it in.
Good time. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys would come in and say,
oh, God.
So me and Joe on the ground. I got Joe in a headlock. And he's sitting there.
Helmet.
He's punching me in the stomach, like steady punching me.
Here, and as everyone's sitting around, who here thinks Ovchinko can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad's been with the team
6 minutes.
for 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Ovchinko can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I fucking saw you there. You were more fucked up than me.
Be on the Spirit plane had some issues. I think she was sleep farting.
You heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her. I smelled.
Whoa. What was that?
How to start the show. Why would I have that?
Oh, God, you had the circus or something.
6'3", I'm waiting. Like, I don't even know what I'd be doing.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it?
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? And it's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they're
all fatter than I am.
Players, look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Mic'd Up. Today is Wednesday, August 9th. We have a huge show. We are still here in Cards and Culture. I know we've been bouncing around a lot. We went from one studio to a new studio to now a new, completely different location. And this is our home. This is going to be our home for a minute. We have some really big things happening. Come and check us out here in Perkins Row. What?
Maybe one more move.
We have one more.
Maybe
but
one more.
Part of the area that we're at. We are excited to be here. Like I said, it's so much more fun doing something with your friends that you kind of had this vision together, and it's starting. You kind of went your separate ways, and you get to come back together, and you kind of get to do it together, and that's, to me, what it's all about. And I'm excited to do it. So we're here at Cards and Culture. We have a huge show for you. Football is here. It is happening. Last week was the first week of preseason football games. You had one. You had the Hall of Fame game. You have 2 tomorrow, 6 on Friday, 6 on Saturday, and I think 2 or 3 on Sunday. So it is here. It is happening. Hard Knocks debuted yesterday, last night. I thought it was electric. I watched it. Jared watched it. He thought it was electric. Not only did Hard Knocks debut, you had Netflix drop Johnny Manziel documentary all in one day, which also was pretty crazy. If you haven't watched it, you should watch it. All that did for me was make me more excited for football and to come back today and talk about what I saw in the show. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk a lot about football, a lot about LSU football, a lot about LSU baseball, right? Paul Skeens, #1 overall pick in the draft, is going to make his professional debut tomorrow, and the Florida Gulf Coast League. For the Pirates, I'd imagine he's probably going to throw a couple innings just to get out there, keep the arm fresh.
6 pitch count.
Yeah, so it's not going to be a lot. It's going to be exciting for him to kind of get back out there and pitching in a professional uniform. Braden Montgomery is a transfer from Stanford.
Right from the source.
Right from the source. He was announced that he was in this portal. He was a top name in the portal. He had a really good year last year. And everybody thought he was coming to LSU. We had some information fed to us that he was not going to be coming to LSU, and he may stay where he's at, but he's not coming here, right? And so we announced that and said that, it may look like he may be going back to Stanford, but he's not coming to LSU. It was announced today that he is going to Texas A&M. Our friend Nolan Kane was able to bring him and lure him into the SEC from Stanford. Congratulations to A&M for getting him over there. It's a big get for them. I know that they're working hard to get him. I think they would think that's a win for them, and I think that's a win for everybody. But I think what we have here at LSU is you have a bunch of young guys that are waiting in the wings to play, and you don't have a lot of outfield spots left. And I think that it is nice to let these young guys develop, and that's how you sustain success, is to let the young guys develop, and you don't want those guys to leave either, because you get them for multiple years. You may only have this guy for 1 year. So he goes to A&M.
Nolan still has his fastball.
What? Nolan's still got it. I mean, Nolan's a great recruiter. He's a great recruiter. He's going to be a head coach somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's going to be, but he's going to get a head coaching job. He works his ass off. So shout out to him. Obviously they're at A&M, but he's still one of our really good friends. So I'm excited for him. I'm happy that he was able to land a big recruit. We have a lot of Saints conversations. Anthony Barr signed with the Saints, veteran linebacker signs with the Saints. Kareem Hunt was also supposed to sign, decided not to sign, got a phone call from the Colts, goes to visit the Colts, leaves Indianapolis without a deal. Then Indianapolis signs some other veteran free agent running back. So who's to say what happens with Kareem Hunt? He's still on the market. I still feel like the Saints are right in the mix. We will have all those questions answered because we have Brooke Kirchhofer coming on the show. She is a host/reporter for New Orleans.football. So New Orleans.football is very, very plugged into the Saints, and they come up with a lot of really good information. So she will be on the show via video call at 6:30, answer all of our questions about the Saints. If you have questions about the Saints, please put them in the chat. It is also Wednesday. We did not promote this. We probably should get back to start promoting this, but it is Ask Mikie and Mitch Day. It is Wednesday, Ask Mikie and Mitch Day. If you have any questions, I know we didn't promote it, so you don't have any on social media. But if you're watching the show and you have a lot of questions, please put them in the chat. And Lloyd, our awesome producer, will look at the chat, and he will give them to us, and he will announce the questions, and we will answer them. And we'll have a nice little conversation.
Rap session.
Nice little rap session.
Very nice rap session.
Yes. But we're looking forward to that. There's a lot of things happening with the Saints. A lot of good things happening with the Saints, but I am excited to really jump into our conversations with football. What are you doing over there? Why are you laughing?
Just wait to see when he's going to look down, pay attention.
Just look at all the jerseys. All the jerseys up on the top. It's nice.
Right.
It's nice. Yes.
Caught me on the goofy cam.
Can't get right.
Dylan Cruz hit a grand slam yesterday. Did y'all see that?
4 for 5.
4 for 5. I think he's hitting the ground running. I think he's going to be just fine.
I think every one of those hits went to right field, too.
Yep, he's in a good spot.
It's like he's locked in.
He may be in AA already by the end of the year. Who knows?
He's literally on MLB The Show. And
He may be in the big leagues. He may be in the big leagues this year. I don't know.
Oh, what a guy!
I mean, he's doing everything that he needs to do. I'm excited for him. I'm excited to watch him.
If it's this easy for Dylan Cruz, I'd imagine that Paul Skeens will probably will set sail just about the same way.
Well, he's only throwing 6 pitches, so.
Well, it'd be 2 strikeouts.
I mean, the numbers
Could be 6 outs.
The numbers state that it is easier. Baseball is easier for a pitcher. The odds are that you're going to get the guy out more times than he's going to get a hit, and so, I'd imagine. So I'm looking forward to watching him go out there. Now, this is the Florida Gulf Coast League. These kids are 18.
Oh no.
A lot more first pitch strikes thrown than I ever thought I'd be seeing in that league recently.
You would imagine.
Just seeing some of the highlights.
Dylan Cruz 3 hits on 3 pitches. That's first pitch strikes right
That's
there.
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's a lot more than what I remember of that level of baseball.
Absolutely, but we'll see.
It's usually 98 on the corner and 98 at the backstop. So.
Yeah, at your head, then then down away, then at your face, and then down away. And it's like that's very hard to hit.
It's tough.
Very tough to hit. Very hot too out there.
Ooh-wee.
Obviously.
Boy, it's steamy.
Nobody in the stands. You're playing at 12 o'clock.
A little different
What
than
do
the
you
College
think?
World
What do you think's
Series.
worse?
It's brutal.
What do you think's worse? Playing in the Florida State League at this time of year, or being in training camp for the Miami Dolphins at this time?
At least training camp. Are you talking about like back of the roster training camp?
No, like I don't care. Whatever. Who you got to get the reps.
I'll think
in
training
anyway.
camp.
Training camp's tough.
Because
right?
you're in
Hey,
pads, you
pads.
got to do all that stuff. Baseball, you're out there for
just cooking.
yeah, you're there, but like you still
skillet
got the
action.
dugout every now and then. Sometimes long innings, especially in that
Ooh,
league.
you don't want those.
But if you're in the dugout, it's fine. You got some water. You're shaded a little bit, and you're out. The football training camp, I feel like you're there for all day. Like you're doing film study, you have meetings, but then you're outside for 3 hours, and you're in pads, and you have the helmet, and the sweat's going through your eye where you can't see anything, and
Everything's soaked.
You literally feel the smoke coming out of the steam coming out of your shoulder pads up around your neck.
Ugh.
I mean, you know how it goes. You did it. I did it in
Helmet
high school.
comes
You did
off
it in
and you
college,
see it
so.
kind of coming from your head.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. It's that's a hard one.
That's a coin flip right there.
I'd rather I
boys
think baseball.
are
than-
both bad.
They're
I mean,
both bad. None of them are good.
yeah, I guess the only real experience I could is like high school. Whenever you're leaving class, going to either baseball practice or football practice, kind of the same ideal. When you're in Louisiana, it's like I looked much more forward to baseball practice than football practice. Like, fuck, like the day just started.
See, I don't know. I look more forward to football practice, I think.
Well,
Baseball's way more fun to practice.
You look forward to like Thursday, Friday practice, like that Monday or that Tuesday, Wednesday.
I was also
you're
a
like-
quarterback,
That Tuesday,
so-
Wednesday,
Yeah.
you're like, God, dog, it's about to be pads. We about
Yeah.
to run after.
Yeah.
Coach might be in a bad mood.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Thursday, Friday, like, get me out there.
the Monday practice, not so much. But after that, I guess the position that I played made it a lot more entertaining for me because
Specialist.
I'm throwing routes.
I don't know,
I'm-
Coach. The way my
you know.
pigment was set up, it didn't really matter what position.
You had the sleeves. You had the long sleeves. You had the.
I didn't really know
you
that
had
trick.
the
And I
ski
wish I would have
mask.
known that trick. Now I would have done it. Might
You had
be
the
like
ski mask on your face,
yeah,
like
quarter of a shade lighter. or
Push
whatever.
iced tea.
I wish I would have known that trick. Now I definitely would do it.
Oh,
Right now, out
Show
there
up to
in
school,
long
roll your sleeves
tights.
up.
I don't got it. Everything.
It's going to be a huge recruiting month for LSU football, right? You have two of the big recruits are announcing their commitment tomorrow at 2 o'clock p.m. 2 o'clock p.m. That makes sense, right? Yeah, 2 o'clock. 2 p.m.
1:45 is when it starts.
Yeah, 2 p.m. is when they're going to make their announcement, is what they have said.
Yeah, I've done these recruiting events. It'll
Yeah,
probably
it
be about
doesn't.
2:45, 2:30.
Yeah. No, I get it. The
Gotta
highest,
pray.
one of the highest rated recruits in Louisiana is out of Acadiana. He's supposed to make his announcement in the next month, is what he said, right? So I know there's a lot of rumors that he's looking at other schools, not necessarily just LSU. I think LSU is kind of behind the 8 ball, and they think that they've made a lot of headway. So it's a big month in LSU football recruiting. We're going to have all of that information for you. At some point, we'll get Shea Dixon on the show, and he gives us all the insight because he's a lot better at that than we are. Until then, Lloyd is our designated recruiting guy because Jack is on his beach trip,
Yes.
rewarding himself for his internship that he had all summer before school starts. And so
Still send a thumbnail in from the beach.
until he get back, you are the designated recruiting guru on our
Yes.
show.
And it seems as if the cat from Acadiana, the Louisiana guy, he is also being recruited heavily by Oklahoma and Ohio State. Seems to be a
Ohio
dark
State's
horse.
like the guy they just got in, right?
They snuck in, and if you're an LSU fan, you're looking at him as the reason that LSU is making up ground. That doesn't give you very much confidence in the fact that they are going to land Colin Simmons. It seems like they were kind of going after that as a defensive lineman for the
I
scholarship.
don't know, dude. They're both 5 stars. You go after both, I feel like. Right?
Yeah, but Colin Simmons is generational. But if you're, what's his name, McBride? Is that his name?
You're
From
the recruiting.
Acadiana?
You're the recruiting.
I'm
guru.
not. It's hard to keep up with. But if you're
No, it's Dominic McKinley.
Dominic McKinley from Acadiana, yeah. So I'm just saying, if he feels like he wasn't getting the love, LSU went pedal to the metal for Colin Simmons, and the reason being is it feels like Colin Simmons is one of those guys. If you're able to pull him, then it's a generational pull from a state that you probably shouldn't be getting from. But on the Caden Durham front, it feels Shea moved his pick from 80% to 90% on the RPM meter, so he feels very confident LSU's going to land Caden Durham, and it's like we were talking about earlier, if Frank Wilson decides that he's going to get you, he said he was all in on Durham. It was the only running back he recruited all cycle, the only running back that LSU was going to take this class. It seems like he's trending in LSU's direction. Colin Simmons is still playing the game where he's tweeting out the Texas, he's tweeted out his uniform in Texas, tweeted out the LSU. Shea moved his pick back from, 5%. I think he was at 60% to 55% for LSU. Regardless of whatever hat he picks up tomorrow, this will be a sprint to the finish. You're going to continue to recruit him until he puts his name on the piece of paper.
Well, here's my question, right? And you talked about, you put all the cards in for Colin Simmons, and then, Dominique McKinley felt like he was maybe not the priority. Here's my counter argument to that statement, right? I'm not saying you're wrong, but what I am saying is you have the number one recruit in Louisiana as a 5-star defensive lineman. You can never have too many of those guys, right? You don't want the number one recruit in Louisiana to leave Louisiana. And the position that both those guys play, you need two of them. You know what I mean? Like, you need two of those guys on the field at all times. So I feel like it's something where both of those guys can fit. And if you have both of those guys, then that defensive line just becomes that much better if they are as good as advertised, right? I know Colin Simmons is a generational guy, but this Dominique McKinley is a 5-star. Like, you don't want to miss on 5 stars in your own state. So hopefully they can, make up some ground. It's going to be very hard. I know they're behind the 8 ball. I know some of these other schools are really looking at him, and they may be ahead of him. But when LSU jumps in there, especially from South Louisiana, especially from the Lafayette area, once LSU jumps in and they start giving you the attention and they start wanting you, you can say all you want about not wanting to go there. It is very hard. It's a very hard pull to LSU when they start getting involved, right? It's hard to keep that guy from staying in state and going out of state, even though he may feel like he was slighted early on. And so, I would like to get both of them. That'd be nice.
I would imagine if you're a Louisiana guy and LSU comes knocking, it's you can feel slighted all you want, but when you start getting the love that LSU can show, it turns into, I wanted to go here all along. Now I'm finally, I'm getting the attention I feel like I deserve. You don't hold on to that slight very long when LSU rolls out the red carpet for you. You're like, oh, okay, now I see what it's like to be courted. You can hold out as long as you want, but if you get the absolute recruiting treatment, it feels like a lot of those guys turn coat pretty quickly and head back home.
No doubt. And
it's hard to imagine yourself going all the way up to, you want to go live in Ohio?
For sure. It's cold. You're not used to that.
You want to go get your brakes beat in at Oklahoma for the next 3 years while they're trying to adjust to the SEC?
Right. And it's just, look, are you going to go? Oklahoma's not known for their defense. I know they have a defensive guy as a head coach now, but they're just not – they haven't been known for it recently for being this –
They were very good last year.
Very good defense, right? And so I just think that it's – and to say it's one or the other in that position group as a recruit, I just don't think that's one of those positions where you say, I'm going to put all my eggs in one guy and not – you know what I mean? So – I think there's a lot of room for both.
I would imagine when you look at how are we going to shape up a recruiting class year in and year out, and I don't know the backstory of these two kids, but I don't know if we had a late bloomer or how it's gone, how things have gone. But I would imagine when you look at shaping up a recruiting class year in and year out, like you said, there's a couple positions that you just can't have enough of. Especially if I can get literally top flight guys at those spots, we go ahead and take those spots. And I think you put your eggs in those baskets and try to get those guys. So I would imagine that both of them are getting that kind of love. And I do think there's something to it doesn't really matter. Say we're talking about Louisiana kids with LSU, but it would be the same thing as for a Joe Burrow at Ohio State, or it would be the same thing for a California kid at a USC or a Florida kid at one of these big Florida schools. You come up, if you are somewhat of a fan of the sport and you watch the sport, once you start getting some attention, it's cool to get these outer state schools, and it feels good. But the ultimate feel good is getting the one from home. Right. That's when you feel like, all right, maybe I have arrived.
Right.
There's a real thing here. So I think that becomes one of the biggest pulls as to let's make this happen, because this is, I've always seen this and been a fan of this, and if they're doing it right at the time, especially, or you see yourself being a part of the change to making them do it right, it's hard to leave and go somewhere else and go do it somewhere else.
No doubt. And I think that, LSU has built momentum from last year. I think they're going to continue to build momentum with the team that they're going to put on the field and the performance that they're going to have. LSU's through their 5th day of August camp.
Yeah.
right? And you're like, well, 5 days, that's not that much. And you're right. In the grand scheme of things, 5 days is not that much. But at this point in the year, the 5th day of practice, being in pads, being out there, putting everything in, like that seems like an eternity for a lot of these players, right? Like you start progressing a lot, and you can attest to this, right? As a football guy, at this time of the year, 1 day, 2 days, by day 5, like you're starting to progress a lot. Like you're starting to feel like, okay, I kind of got that first few days, bumps and bruises out, and then by the second week, you should really feel like, okay, I've got my camp legs underneath me now, and you really take that next jump. Am I right? Am I wrong? You tell me how the progression of like the body
progression
feels.
of it goes
like
pretty much that way. But it's also part of it. Like usually people will start off, and obviously it's either just helmets or just shells for a day or two or so, however it goes. And then once you start getting in the full pads and actually start, obviously without maybe not tackling, but actually start pretty much full contact, all right, get a couple of days of that into you, and now you start feeling like, all right, I'm getting into it, but that's when things start to wear on you as well.
Right.
You know, it's hot. I'm beating on the same person. I've been running the same routes. I've been battling with the same people. That's when you start to get, I won't say antsy, but that's when it starts to become like, yeah, we've been at this for a while.
Well, and then we talked about it being hot in August, right? Yeah. We talked about tempers flaring because of the fight and the scuffle, the skerfuffle that they had Monday.
Yeah.
Well, Brian Kelly comes out. He has pressers, and I love Brian Kelly's pressers now. I love listening to our head coach's press conference because it makes sense and it gets me excited that we're going to be in a position where a guy knows what he's doing, right? And so he comes out and he says they've extended practice longer outdoors for a couple of reasons. It's hot. These are the elements that we have to deal with. You ain't going to play inside when you play in the home games early in the year and it's really hot. So, one, you have to get used to that. Two, you also need to fight through this adversity. Like, you need to stop, basically, can't bitch out and you can't complain and make excuses because it's hot, because these are the stuff that the cards were dealt, and we got to figure out how to play our best hand. And so we're gonna practice longer outside. Make sure you're hydrated. Make sure you do the things that you need to do to keep your body in shape. But also, this is gonna create a mental toughness, and this is gonna give you a situation where you gotta figure out how to fight through this shit. Because when you're tired, you start missing assignments. You start forgetting plays. Your focus starts to drift away, and this is a good train. I think this is a great move by him to allow these guys, force these guys to, okay, I got to figure my shit out before I lose my spot.
Like the sun comes up and goes down, obviously.
What happens?
Pretty much everywhere, right? Not everywhere, but pretty much everywhere. So I guess my point to that is I get it gets hot and it's August everywhere right now, but I'll never forget, like, the one thing Tommy Moffitt used to preach, and it was something that was huge, and it was when you come down here and you get in this sun with this humidity and it's beating on you all day, outside of maybe a Florida team, maybe Alabama team,
and I'll say this, the Florida team is a little different too, because you at least get a little bit of the beach breeze.
Maybe you might get the beach breeze. You might get the beach
unless
breeze.
You're inland.
But my point is pretty much through October, anybody who's coming down here, you have an automatic leg up on them because you were able to do this. You got used to it. You got comfortable in it. And everybody else comes down here and they're like, bro, what is this?
They're cramping after the first quarter.
You're sitting over here like, bro, we live it. We do this.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what you talking about? Let's go.
No doubt.
And it becomes way different. And it is a huge physical advantage, but the mental advantage that you get once you get over that hump yourself and you start doing it, it's unbelievable. And I think it's seemingly, I don't know why or how. I mean, I get it. We brought in a completely new staff and everything, but seems to me that that's something that obviously this is year 2, but obviously it's something he's catching on to now, saying like, man, I want to kind of, take care of him a little bit more, and I still have to take care of him. But you got to get the work in.
You got to get
that work
in.
Like, this is part of that work. You have to be out there in this.
No doubt.
You can bend it to an advantage
because it's just part
mentally.
of playing here.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to have to play here, it's the same thing as it is no different than if you look at how the Green Bay Packers approach practice in November, December, and January.
Yeah.
They're outside.
Yeah.
Why? Because the moment you step in there on a Sunday night and it's on NBC and it's 7 degrees and the wind's blowing, We comfortable, dude. We do this every day.
And the other
you're like,
side
bro,
of it,
get me out of here.
And the other side of it is Aaron Rodgers loves that. The colder it gets, the
All of
better
them
he
do.
feels because he knows that these teams coming in aren't
All
ready
of them
for
do.
it.
They don't want to be in that,
Yeah.
and as much as you don't want to be in it, I'm a little bit more comfortable than you are.
No doubt.
So that means I can keep my mind on the task, like you said, a little bit more than you can.
Yep,
and
no
that's,
doubt.
it's huge.
It's
an
huge,
advantage.
It's a huge thing, right? And BK, and part of his last presser, we talked about our guy from Acadiana coming in here, and hopefully he comes through LSU. Another guy from Acadiana who we've talked a lot about on this show, and other people who have come on that's close to the program have talked about them, and LaTerrence Welsh taking that next step and becoming an actual factor and starter at the cornerback position. Brian Kelly kind of touched on the progress of him and
Stamps.
and Ashton Stamps and talked about where they are in their progression and their what was that?
It's
Brooke?
yes.
Okay. You want to do the clip after?
I can just mute her.
Okay. Let's just show the clip on what he said, and then we'll continue our LSU conversation after her.
LT is, I think he's built on, his spring performance. His spring game was outstanding. He's had a great summer, and he continues to get better each and every day. Ashton's a true freshman who put on, a lot of weight. I think many of you remember us recruiting him. He was a bit, I would say, underweight at the position for us, and we were excited about his competitiveness and his athleticism, but we challenged him to get after it in the weight room, and he certainly did in the off season and then this summer, and he looks the part. He's doing a really good job as a true freshman.
So I think he's happy. I think the strength coaches and the guys they've brought in have done their job on these guys, being able to develop them physically. I think something that we haven't really talked about. We've mentioned it, right? Like you bring in these cornerbacks veteran cornerbacks from other schools, and you want these young guys to play right away. And yeah, if they're ready, they're ready. But some of these guys are not physically ready to go up against some of these men, because you're going up against 22-year-olds and sometimes 23, 24-year-olds with COVID, and you have to be able to physically be able to withstand that. And so, I think some people forget that, just because you're super athletic coming out of high school, you may need a little extra time physically to just adapt. And I think that they've done a really good job doing that. And hopefully getting these guys on the field, because you're going to need these young guys to play and make a big impact. But we have more LSU conversation as the show progresses. We went through these Heineken headlines, and Brooke Kirchhofer, I'm working hard on making sure I don't mispronounce it. I'm practicing. I'm learning it. We actually got a phone call from our friends, our partners at Heineken, and she called me today and she said, "Hey, how are y'all doing with the beer? Y'all need any more? Y'all need any more beer? Tailgate season's coming up." I was like, you know what? I think we do need some more. We have some left. It is going fast. Baseball season was huge for the Heineken brand, the Heineken Silver brand of our personal Heineken Silver brand. And so she's going to equip us with more beer so that we can put into our ice chest in the tailgate season. And if you haven't had Heineken Silver, you need to give it a shot. It is their version of their light beer. It's 95 calories, 4% alcohol. It tastes extremely good. It's very crisp, very refreshing, especially when it's 105 degrees as it is right now outside. Put it on ice. Tell me what you think. But you can get them in wherever they sell beer. Grocery stores, they're doing a really good job nationally promoting their new line of beer. So give it a shot. Heineken Silver, we are proud that they are one of our OG partners. From the start, on the start of the show, they had faith in us. They're growing with us, and we love that, and we appreciate that.
And New Orleans Football just got their own beer.
Yep, New Orleans Football.
So maybe a little beer swap.
Yeah, maybe a little beer swap. We'll talk about it with Brooke Kirchhofer. She's, I think she's ready. We're going to give about a minute break while she gets set up, and we will have her on talking all Saints. There's a lot of stuff happening in New Orleans, whether it be free agent signing, not signing, maybe you're going to sign, suspensions that have happened, and she's got all the answers. I have my opinions. I don't have the answers. She's the insider. That's why she's on the show. So we'll be right back. You're watching Mik'd. We'll be back to you in 1 minute. Dozy Place is located on 3723 Government Street. Everybody knows about their world-famous steaks and their hot tamales, but what you may not know is that they're open for lunch every day from 11 to 2. Great people, great environment. Their lunch menu is fire. What's the best thing on the menu?
If you haven't tried it yet, you need to try the burger. Unbelievable. Best burger in town.
Best burger in town. If you're looking for lunch, 11 to 2 at Doe's Eat Place. Again, they're located on 3723 Government Street. Give them a shot. Oh my God. But before we go into our break, I want to give a shout out to, like I said, we talk about us getting new partners, new sponsorships all the time. We have a new sponsor, and you've probably seen them on the top left corner in the little spinner logo. EFCO Solutions. Our friends on at EFCO, they're out of Lafayette. They're a civil construction company. They specialize in new multi-family construction, right? If you don't know what civil construction is, it's okay. Probably a lot of people don't understand it. They basically get the land ready to be built vertically.
Yeah.
Giving you a little bit of a construction lesson here. I don't know much about it. I've learned it on the go, right? They specialize in
I know. We were trying, guys, to make it look good, and we just couldn't make it happen.
ponds, demo work, and hurricane cleanup. So they do anything that involves dirt, basically, or the earth. And a lot of that gets done before, it has to be done before you are building whatever development you are trying to build. So our friends at EFCO have been fans of the show. They are really, really good people. They are down there in Lafayette. If you know anybody from Lafayette, you do know me. Mitch is from New Iberia. I'll consider that Lafayette's 337 area code.
There you go.
337 area code. They are unbelievable people. They do a very, very, very good job, and they are committed to growing and being the best at what they do. So I just want to give a shout out to our friends at EFCO. I know that they listen. Appreciate you guys. We are going to be great partnerships. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. We are excited to introduce our next. I had to clear my throat. We are excited to introduce our next guest. First time guest of the show. Long time listener, first time participant in the show. Brooke Kirchhofer. Brooke, I appreciate you. She is a host/reporter.
You just motored right through that
from
last name, didn't you?
New Orleans.football. I got there. I went through there. I didn't want to mess it up.
Like a run-on.
I didn't want to mess it up.
Welcome to the show.
I didn't want to mess it up. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it. And you last name.
What's that?
You killed the last name. Got it right.
I tried. I had to make sure. I didn't want to. I just wanted to speed right through that thing just in case. Just in case. There's been a lot of talk in New Orleans right now. A lot of things have happened, right? Obviously, Alvin Kamara goes through his deal. You have Kareem Hunt in New Orleans. Maybe signing, maybe not signing. Who knows? Leaves to go to Indianapolis. Leaves Indianapolis without a deal. You signed Derek Carr in the offseason. There's a lot of good things I feel like that are happening in New Orleans. What's the vibe? What is the feeling around the facility right now?
Well, in regard to the suspension you just talked about, I think Alvin Kamara getting ahead of it and going and meeting with Roger Goodell paid off. Only getting a 3-game suspension for the season.
Right?
He's only going to miss the first. It is a win. When you look at some of these suspensions in the past and what some of these guys have done to get these suspensions. It's typically anywhere from 4 to 6 games. So the fact that it was only a 3-game suspension is a good thing for the Saints. But they also went out and got Kendre Miller in the draft. Of course, we thought this Kareem Hunt deal was going to come together, and he would have been great to fill Alvin's role as a good pass catcher, out of the backfield for the New Orleans Saints in those first 3 games. But the fact is, didn't happen. Kind of weird how that all played out, too, on social media of, is it happening? Is it not happening? He was there. And honestly, the other deal that was going on with the Jonathan Barr, the linebacker, who was also who also was in New Orleans. That was kind of a weird deal too. I don't know what happened. Of days of why that wasn't able to work out. It sounds like it was a money issue with both parties, but all in all, vibes are good around the New Orleans Saints. The fans are happy. Everybody's excited about the season. The fact that Michael Thomas is out there and kind of looking like his old self. I won't say he's back to his old self just yet, but the vibes are good in New Orleans.
Brooke.
Are you going to bring that up?
No, I'm not going to bring up the video.
Okay.
Brooke,
Right.
I've only been hearing rave reviews of Marshawn Lattimore at camp this year. Can you talk a little bit about how he's doing and where things are with him? Because if he's right, it allows the defense to do a ton. So I would imagine that would be big things for the Saints this year.
Yeah, Marshawn Lattimore looks great. Of course, he dealt with that lacerated kidney, pretty serious injury last year, but he did come back from it, was healthy at the end of the season. But it takes a while to get back to your true self, especially when you're Marshawn Lattimore, one of the top cornerbacks in the league. Every single one-on-one so far in practice up to this point, when he's in practice, he had a Vets Day a couple days ago, but him and Michael Thomas has been best on best in one-on-ones. And Marshawn Lattimore has gotten the better of Michael Thomas so far in camp. He has looked truly, Marshawn Lattimore, like his true self. He's going to be dangerous for the Saints this year. And now it's finding out who's starting opposite him. Is it going to be Paulson Adebo? Is he going to maintain that starting role? Or is this young buck, Alante Taylor, going to come in and take it from him? Right now, Paulson Adebo is winning that battle opposite Marshawn Lattimore, but we'll see in this first preseason game Sunday if Alante Taylor can make some noise.
Well, with the way the offenses are set up now in the NFL, right, you'd have to have more than just 2. Like, I feel like you have Bradley Roby, then you have, obviously, Alante Taylor did extremely good things last year. Like, you have to be able to have 4, 5, 6 of those guys, really, that can basically rotate in and out. How is the cornerback depth looking so far in camp?
Better than it has in a long time. It's actually something that we've been talking about on our show is how do you cut down the roster to 53? And we saw so many injuries with the secondary last year, and they didn't keep a big number in that area last year, and it kind of hurt them in the end run. So it's how many guys in the secondary are you going to keep in this 53-man roster when you also are going to have a heavy tight end room right now? They have 4 tight ends. So where is that one number going to come from? Are they going to keep one less wide receiver? Are they going to keep one less DB? I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they're actually going to keep a lot of defensive backs on this roster this year, given the way injuries have gone in the past. We actually saw the Saints working in their dime package today where they have 3 safeties on the field. We've seen, like you mentioned, Alante Taylor, Marshawn Lattimore, Paulson Adebo. Bradley Roby has been working heavily in the slot as well. Hugo Amadi has looked good. The rookie they just got, Jordan Howden, has looked good as well. So I think it's a room that has a lot of competition. That's what you want this early in training camp, and they're going to be able to weed that out now as preseason games are around the corner.
You've talked about Michael Thomas kind of starting to look like Michael Thomas. Not quite there yet, but he's on the field. He's doing the things that he's doing. You said best on best. I'm not saying he's not the best, but you have another guy on the other side of the field, the other receiver, the Chris Olave, who came in last year, and he was unbelievable. Is he about to take that next step to put himself in the upper echelon of NFL wide receivers coming into this year? Because what he did last year in an offense that really wasn't explosive was pretty impressive. And you'd imagine with Derek Carr and another year under the offense's belt that Chris Olave would take that next step.
Yeah, Chris Olave has been our camp favorite so far in training camp. Today was day 12, so still pretty early on, but Chris Olave has made the necessary steps to have a better second year. He had an incredible rookie campaign with the New Orleans Saints, but one of the things going into the offseason that he talked about was putting on size and being better in contested catches. He's proved that already through day 12 of practice that he can get up and win these one-on-ones. He actually had the play of the day a couple days ago. He caught a ball on top of Alontae Taylor's head in the end zone. I mean, this guy has stood out. Alontae Taylor did get the best of him today on one of those one-on-ones down the side. I think it was during an 11-on-11 drill. Those two went head-to-head. They've kind of been going head-to-head all of training camp. But Chris Olave has gotten the better of Alontae Taylor so far in camp. He has looked great. The added size, you notice, has made a difference. But him coming out of his breaks, I'm not sure there's a wide receiver better than him right now. And I only say that because Michael Thomas is not back to his old self just yet.
Now, we've all come to love and be very, very, very familiar with the multiple roles he's played over the year. But I've always been a fan of the saying, a jack of all trades is a master of none. Are we seeing Taysom Hill kind of settle into something more solid, or is he still doing everything right now?
He's still going to do everything. They continue to put him in the tight end room and sometimes line him up at quarterback. We've seen him take off with the ball more than we've seen him throwing the ball when he's lined up at quarterback. They're still going to want to use him as that jack of all trades because it works. When you look at the numbers, defenses have not been able to stop Taysom Hill. So until they can figure out how to stop that guy, they're going to continue to do what they've done in the past. And even last year, Pete Carmichael kind of knocked on himself a little bit, saying they didn't utilize Taysom Hill enough in that role last year, especially when you had the issues with the quarterback and you couldn't really figure things out with Andy Dalton or Jameis Winston. They didn't utilize Taysom Hill in a role that probably would have helped them win more games last year. And so I expect to see Taysom Hill even more involved this season, just based on Pete Carmichael talking about how much they missed getting him in last season.
So he does everything, right? Now with Alvin Kamara out for a few weeks, can we see him with a bigger role in the backfield, maybe be in that running back position a little bit more than we have seen him in the past? Because they started doing that a little bit last year. He obviously is explosive with the ball in his hands, especially as a runner. This is just me thinking out loud. I don't know, but with if they don't sign Kareem Hunt, they don't bring up another guy, over those 3 weeks, could we see him maybe get some more touches in the backfield, or is that something they're just going to keep him doing everything else and just not really focus on the running back position?
No, it's a good point, and I think we are going to see Taysom Hill utilized in that role, especially in the first 3 games. But they really like Jamal Williams and Kendre Miller. This rookie back out of TCU has impressed so far. Remember, he missed minicamp and OTA, so we didn't really know what the Saints were getting with him just yet, but he has burst onto the scene in training camp. He's taking a lot of the reps, getting a lot of volume, and I think that's by design because they know Alvin Kamara is going to miss those 3 games, and you know what you're getting with Jamal Williams, right? He held one of the records last year for touchdowns. You know what you're getting with this veteran running back, but I don't know if they still try and go get a veteran running back like they did with Kareem Hunt. To me, that was kind of a surprise because I thought they liked their running back room, and especially Taysom Hill too in that role. So maybe that's something to keep an eye on. Maybe the Saints still go out and try to get a veteran running back. But no, you're right in saying that Taysom Hill, we might see him utilized in that role more, at least in the first 3 games. And that's a way too for them to see if it's working in this new offense because you have a new quarterback. Right. Is this Taysom Hill, jack of all trades, going to work with Derek Carr? We don't know yet. So you're going to be able to tell that in the first few games.
You mentioned the Saints having a new quarterback, and I'm somewhat of a pessimist when it comes to the Saints.
Somewhat a big pessimist.
Well, I'm just not.
That's a very optimistic view of what you
yourself.
Actually
it's not just the Saints either. It's everything.
No, that's not true. I'm high on LSU this year.
Scary,
but
actually.
I'm just thinking about what happened last year and how the offensive looked. I don't want to blame it all on Andy Dalton because I don't think he was really the problem. More my head turns toward Pete Carmichael, especially after I heard an interview with Jimmy Graham where he was talking about this is one of the most convoluted offenses he's ever been in terms of nomenclature and how the play call comes out and how much responsibility is on Derek Carr in his first year. Why should I be hopeful that the offense is going to look better?
Listen, I get you. I get the pessimism because how boring was that offense to watch last year? I think we can all say that's terrible.
Tough.
I think about the Steelers-Saints loss and just wanting to pull my teeth out, pull my hair out.
Beat by
because
Matt
it was
Canada.
so bad. Exactly. And the Steelers were giving you every chance to win. Anyways, we're not going to talk about 2022.
There you go.
Listen, no, what has surprised me is how much these guys have put their faith and trust in Pete Carmichael, even Dennis Allen, because I was leading on the side of you and the fans that why is he still the offensive coordinator? He did not change anything with Andy Dalton last year. You know, what were the issues? And I get it. Like the offensive line had a lot of issues and injuries. So you can't necessarily blame the play caller with a lot of these things, but they went out and got Derek Carr because he meshes well with what Pete Carmichael wants to do in this offense. The two of them, when they met, I can't remember what restaurant they met at in the offseason, but that's when the two of them talked about what this offense, right. Yeah, probably. This is where the two of them talked about what they want this offense to look like, and that Derek Carr will be the guy who makes a lot of the decisions. Now, Pete Carmichael will be the true play caller and offensive coordinator, as we saw with, the passing over from Sean Payton to Pete Carmichael wasn't the greatest. So he's getting another opportunity. I think Dennis Allen moves off of Pete Carmichael if it does not work this year, because he's going to lose his job if it doesn't work, if the offense doesn't work. You went out and got a great quarterback in Derek Carr. When you look at the market, they could not have done a better job when it comes to getting a veteran quarterback to bring in and bring this team a 10-7 season. So I'm more optimistic with Derek Carr because the philosophy that he has in this offense with Pete Carmichael is going to mesh. And so far, we've seen in practice that it's worked.
Brooke, I know you're a very busy person, and I don't want to keep you for too long. I just have a few more questions. I have a few more questions for you. Talking about the quarterback position, obviously Derek Carr, I believe, is a huge upgrade. And I believe that he is going to be – people for some reason didn't like him. I was always a fan of him. I think he's going to be great in this offense. But the Saints drafted with their fourth-round pick, they drafted Jake Haener from Fresno State. Same place that Derek Carr went, right? Apparently he's been getting rave reviews in camp. They say he looks amazing. What is his outlook? And obviously he's the backup quarterback, but learning from a veteran, learning from a guy who's experienced in the NFL, did the Saints finally draft a guy that they can rely on in the future to be the quarterback of the future?
Look, Mikey, I caught some slack because I might have said he looked like a mini Pat Mahomes because of some of the sidearm throws. I'm not saying this kid is the next Pat Mahomes, okay? But I did catch some slack on our show. Look, Jake Haener, the hype is real. Yeah. But this is in practice, and this is a team that can't hit the quarterback. That's why we've all just been waiting to see what he does in the preseason. When these teams are allowed to hit the quarterback, the joint practices are going to be big to see what Jake Haener is able to do truly under pressure, because he has looked great. We haven't really seen, I'm trying to think, I don't think he's thrown an interception. I think he threw one interception so far. We're 12 days in, and he's a rookie.
Now you just jinxed him.
Well, it's a rookie. And so, look, he's going to make mistakes, and he's in an offense where he's allowed to make mistakes. Right. But here's the deal. If he does really well in the preseason and he's proven he can back up Derek Carr, but remember, they also have Taysom Hill as a backup as well. I would not be shocked if they use Jameis Winston in a trade, because he does have a lot of value. And if you have a really good backup quarterback in Taysom Hill and Jake Haener, which Dennis Allen even said today, he's happy with his quarterback room. He said he has 4 quarterbacks, including Taysom Hill. So we'll see what happens. If Jake Haener, though, puts on for the Saints in preseason in these joint practices, I don't know how long Jameis Winston stays with the team.
Huge Jake Haener fan.
No, we've only
I was a huge fan when they drafted.
Yeah,
I like the draft too. I like the pick too. We've only touched a little bit on the defensive backfield.
Whoa. Dude, what the heck happened?
Hennessy, baby.
Hey, yo, how'd that happen?
I know it him.
Is that like is that the drink break for you guys?
Yeah, exactly. Every time it comes on, we have to take a sip.
That's called new studio, right?
The volume all the way to 100 right there. All the way to 100.
Let's try to get back on track. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, go ahead.
To the defense.
To the defensive side of the ball, we've only really touched on the secondary a little bit, but can we get back to what we were used to seeing in the past in the Dennis Allen defense, a pretty dominant defense from the start of the year? Do you think that's what we're going to get once this thing kicks off?
They hope so. I will say there's a little bit of a difference this year with the guys they went out and got on the defensive line. He actually went with smaller guys that are more explosive. Brian Brzee doesn't count. I mean, that dude is massive. We've seen him all of training camp, and I'm trying to think of, somebody called him a big Gerber baby today. Colin Saunders called him that.
Is that a compliment?
Because they're all goofy. I don't know. I don't know if that's a compliment, but like, they all have really goofy personalities and they've gelled really well. But when it comes to this defensive line, we've heard from the offensive linemen about how explosive these guys are and how quick they are off the line, and they are going to terrorize quarterbacks this season. These are all things you want to hear as a fan, especially with the defense not really meeting its standard last year. I actually think this defensive line is going to be probably as stronger as it's been in several years. There's still a lot of question marks as who's going to be starting opposite of Cam Jordan at this point. They expect Peyton Turner to finally show up, and if he doesn't, I think this is his last year. It's his last year in New Orleans if it doesn't work out. It's one of those things like it was with Marcus Davenport. They're going to give him the time and the opportunity. He just has to stay healthy. But Brian Brzee, Nathan Shepard, Colin Saunders, absolute dogs that are going to get after quarterbacks this year. And incredibly explosive. It's scary when you see a guy that size who's able to run about as quickly as Alvin Kamara off the line.
Love that. All right, last question. Saints play Sunday, their first preseason game on Sunday. Obviously, a lot of the starters probably are not going to be in the lineup.
No, he said a lot of them are going to play.
Yeah.
Okay, well then here's my next question. What can we expect in that first preseason game? How long are they going to be in there? Who do we expect to see? For the players that aren't the starters, and for the casual Saints fan who don't really ramp up their fandom until the season starts, give us a couple names of people to watch out for in the first preseason game of the year.
So there are a couple of injuries before this preseason game gets started. Demario Davis, I don't expect him to play Sunday. He's been out dealing with a minor injury. We're not sure when he's going to be back. So my biggest question is who's lining up next to Pete Werner? Outside of that, the starters are going to play, as you guys mentioned. I think they maybe play half of one of the quarters. I don't see them playing an entire quarter against the Chiefs. But the Chiefs also, what's really interesting, this might be a hot ticket to buy. The Chiefs usually start their starters in their first preseason game. So could you imagine kind of getting a better benchmark for the Saints than playing the reigning Super Bowl champs? To me, I'm so excited to see how is Brian Brzee going to look. All of these rookie guys, Kendre Miller, Isaiah Foskey has been incredibly quiet this camp. Kind of been a disappointment because we had high hopes for him, especially where he got drafted. He hasn't flashed yet. We'll see what it's like when you're actually going up against a different team. How's Paulson Adebo and Alante Taylor going to look? Those two are competing. And then the left guard position is up for grabs. Andres Pete has been out with injury, so I expect to see James Hurst start at left guard. And Trevor Penning also needs to solidify the left tackle spot. But if you're a fan, you want to see Derek Carr connect with Michael Thomas and connect with Chris Olave. If I'm the fan, that's the stuff that I'm going to be looking for and seeing. Can this offense finally be explosive like it used to be when it was? And I'm not talking about the last year Breeze was in New Orleans.
Right.
Like Breeze in his prime. Can they get back to that is the big question. Yeah.
I hope so, Brooke. I appreciate you coming on the show. You will be on the show hopefully for a lot more times throughout the course of the season. If you need any of your Saints information, check out NewOrleans.football. Y'all do an unbelievable job covering the Saints, covering the NFL, covering the opponents of the Saints. And so I love y'all's content. If you want to get any more content, it's NewOrleans.football. We appreciate you coming on. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and we'll have you on again here soon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And I see you guys have beer up there. We need to send you some of our beer.
Yeah, I saw that.
See if I can spin this the right way.
Give us a pitch. Give me the elevator pitch on the beer. Why should I drink your beer?
Citrus Splits.
Oh, man.
If you're not the typical beer drinker, it's not like a crazy sweet citrus beer. I don't know how to put it. It's just the perfect summer beer when it's 100 degrees outside and you're not trying to drink like a Natty Light or a Michelob Ultra. This is your beer. So go and get it at Urban South, or it'll be in grocery stores too soon. So
the Citrus Blitz.
We got to send you guys some.
I'm going to have to try it. I'll try it on there for you. Next time you're in Baton Rouge, we'll get you on the show.
Mimosa beer.
We'll get you on the show, and we'll have a beer together. How about that?
Absolutely. Sounds good, guys.
Enjoy your Wednesday. I appreciate you. We'll have you on again soon.
Thanks. We'll see you soon.
All right. Bye. She knows her stuff.
She knows all the stuff.
She knows all the stuff about the Saints.
She's got all the answers.
Mikey thought he didn't even know the Saints were playing their starters.
I didn't.
That's her job, though.
John Gruden was there, too.
I knew John Gruden was there. I didn't even ask. She gave me a time limit. She had to do something, and so we went.
She has two jobs.
We went a little over the time. I had a bunch of other questions I wanted to ask her, but
I'll have her back on.
Oh, exactly. That's what I said. We're gonna have her back on throughout the course of the season.
All over again.
I think the Taysom Hill thing at running back. I thought about that as I'm asking the question. I think it could be a thing.
Some legs.
Has some legs. I think. I mean, if you're looking for another running back, why do you need another running back when you have a guy that you basically use as a running back unless they want to use him at that quarterback position, have 10 blockers when he's running. Right?
Well, I mean, I would imagine it was already going to be a thing. I would imagine that the Kareem Hunt opportunity for him, if I'm thinking about it on the other side of it, I don't think he really sees himself as maybe like a second to third fiddle idea. Like, if you really look at the way Cleveland used them last year, they were pretty much 1A and 1B.
Right.
And I think in his mind, he probably still thinks he's there. So knowing that Kamara's going to be coming back at some point, knowing that they drafted a rookie running back, knowing that they got the guy that led the NFL in touchdowns last year, how much of an opportunity is he really going to get?
Right.
So I would imagine I won't say using it as leverage, but unless they came with some crazy offer money-wise that's basically saying that we are invested in you, I would imagine that it's probably not his top pick, if that makes any sense.
No doubt.
Just off of the opportunity that's
and you obviously had all the drama happen in Indianapolis. Now, look, Brooke comes on here and says that it's not going to happen in New Orleans. Like, she made it seem like he is not signing in New Orleans, even though he hasn't made it official that he's going to Indianapolis or anywhere else. But you had, Jim Irsay had a lot to say about the running back position, and he has one of the best running backs in the NFL on his roster. Well, he's not showing up, and now you go out there, and if you sign Kareem Hunt, how does that make Jonathan Taylor feel, right? Like, hey, you are very good.
Yeah.
This guy's really good too. Yeah. We think that we can just sign him for a cheaper price, and you want to give us some issues, so we're just going to go ahead and do that. Like, that's a tough ticket for Jonathan Taylor, right? Especially going before he goes into his free agents year with the running back market at an all-time low. And, it's going to be interesting. I don't think us not getting Kareem Hunt is a detrimental to anything.
I mean,
I think that was just going to be an extra
day,
guy.
At the end of the day, here's the thing. Extra guy in the sense of 18 games or 18 weeks, yeah. But in those first 3 weeks, if a running back goes down, you're basically looking at Taysom being the backup or the all-time or the literal three-down back. That's not what you want in that situation.
For
and
sure.
that's no slight to him.
For sure.
That's just not what he's going to be. He's used to doing, right?
For sure.
You want him to something that he's more comfortable doing.
I get Kareem's side too, right? Like, I get him not wanting to come here because he wants to play and he wants to be the guy that has more opportunities to get carries and kind of create his value, recreate his value. So I understand both sides of it. I think the Saints, regardless of what happens, I think the Saints are going to have a lot more. They're going to be a lot more exciting to watch. They're going to be a lot better than they were last year. And as bad as they were last year, they were probably 5 games away. They had played 5 games that they probably could have easily won. Right? They lost at the end. They didn't do enough, or they did enough to lose the game. And if you flip those 5 games around, that's a really good season. So they weren't that far off, and I think they're more talented this year than they were last year. So the division is still up for grabs. It's not. Nobody's kind of separated themselves as the dominant team. You're going to have a rookie quarterback in Carolina. You have, a lot of Atlanta just kind of is what they do. They do what they do. Tampa Bay is going to have new quarterbacks. Your boy Baker Mayfield over there has not had a really good camp so far. They're talking about Kyle Trask taking him over as a starting quarterback. Maybe Baker's just a gamer. You know what I mean? Maybe at some point the whole gamer moniker has to go away if you can't play, if you're not actually
a gamer.
A gamer, yeah.
Johnny Manziel.
Johnny Manziel was a gamer. He was a gamer. I mean, that.
Did you see what they said to Baker whenever he was warming up? They said, hotter here in Cancun, and he's like, fucking here, dude. he throws it, and he's like, get me out of here. He's not happy in Tampa.
I mean, he's got to be happy. I mean, you have a shot to be the starting quarterback. You better be happy.
I would
Get
think
happy
so.
quick,
yeah.
buddy. You have nowhere else to go. Nobody wanted you.
Are you surprised? I mean, it's Baker.
No. I'm not surprised. And look, what's crazy? I
in him.
I wouldn't be surprised if he had a shitty camp and he ends up still getting the job and has a great first game of the season. Everybody, I wouldn't be surprised at that either, just because that's something that Baker would do.
First off, let's just be completely honest. He's starting because his competition is Kyle Trask, right?
And he drafted Kyle Trask to be the guy.
No, they drafted Kyle Trask to put a uniform on.
Well, they drafted him high enough to where you drafted a quarterback there, you want him to be at least
competent.
Yeah.
Okay, but my point is when he's there with Tom Brady, and then Tom Brady says, I'm done, and they decide to bring Baker
and they realize he's not the guy.
They realize he's not the guy.
I get that.
So it's really that simple.
If you have to ask yourself Kyle Trask or Baker, and you go Baker, I don't think Kyle's ready.
No. I mean, it's
LSU.
Baker Mayfield, it's Kyle Trask, or it's John Wolford. Those are the 3 guys they got there in Tampa.
John Wolford's a gamer.
We should bring our girl in, Eileen. She's covering the Tampa Bay Bucks. Maybe we get her in
behind enemy lines.
We get her and say, hey, what's going on over there with Baker and the guys? Is he going to be? You have Trey Palmer on that team.
He is on that squad, huh?
Trey Palmer's on that team. Mike Evans, Trey Palmer. I'm trying to think if we have anyone else. It's a big year.
Trey Palmer had a hell of a year at Nebraska.
Yeah, he did. It's a big year for Devin White. For some reason, people don't like Devin White.
I think he's
over there.
washed.
I'll take him.
Yeah.
Come over to New Orleans. Come back home.
If not motivated is what your definition of washed, then yeah, maybe so. But I'll take him every day right now.
100 tackles a year, I'll take that every day.
He's. If it's not Tom Brady, he is the Super Bowl MVP. If it's not Tom Brady on his own team, but he was the best player in that Super Bowl that year.
I think they're just too close to it.
And single-handedly got them to a Super Bowl after the Brett Favre incident. He saw Devin White, and he was like, I don't think I'm going to make it, dog. I'm not getting the corner on 4-5.
I'm out. But, yeah, football in Louisiana has a lot of hype to it this year. You know what I mean? It's not like the 19 hype where LSU came in there and they're blowing everybody's doors off and the Saints were a Super Bowl contender.
I think there was hype.
The 19 hype wasn't what it was
until
right
it started.
now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There's more preseason hype for sure.
Right, yeah.
Now, not as much for the Saints, but a lot more for LSU than it was that year. But this is the most hype the Saints have had since Drew's left, which, you know, it's
I think it's fair to say this is the most hype of Louisiana football collectively since probably the 19 year.
Yeah,
right?
2006 is what I think of. I mean, LSU.
2006.
Collectively? No, come on.
2006.
Saints are coming off an NFC championship.
No. 2006 was the first year of Sean Payton.
You can't say that. You could,
So
because you could.
that was the year they went to the NFC championship.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Coming off an NFC championship.
No, they didn't come off. They're
appearance.
going into it, right?
Come on.
That was the year they were going into it.
No, that's 2006 against the Bears at Chicago.
I think
Reggie
the
Bush
hype
did the flip against
I
Brian.
think
Okay,
like
but that's
we-
the 2005. No, that was the
No, that was
2006.
2006.
I
You're
think
right.
the Louisiana football hype from 2005 probably through 2012 was year in and year out. You could say
I'm just saying that coming up, like that was the best probably years going into it. Like LSU was coming off the Sugar Bowl. Saints just had an NFC Championship appearance going into 2007. You're like, okay, they're both really good. And then you see an LSU
yeah, but
national
the
championship.
Saints at that point too were literally 10+ wins every single year. You had LSU, who was a top 5 team going to every year. Like
They were trash in 2005.
I'm talking about post 5.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Post
2006 was
Katrina.
the first
Post
year.
Katrina.
Okay, so that literally just said
Yeah.
after that year, pretty much every year you watched a 10-win team and a team that was always pretty much top 5. My point is going into every year, you felt like both
Yeah,
teams.
you're always pretty optimistic.
It doesn't matter. It's a good year for football. It's a good year for Louisiana football. I'm excited for Louisiana football. I'm very excited that the Saints play indoors too, because I'm gonna be very hot on Saturdays and
In the
probably
club.
feeling a little bit
Steamy.
maybe under the weather on Sundays. You know, and so if I'm doing the whole double dip, Saturday LSU game, Sunday Saints game, the fact that I'm indoors in New Orleans makes me feel a lot better about doing that. And so, yeah, I'm
can't
excited
do
about
that.
it. I know.
Go
Some
too
people
hard on
can't.
Saturdays.
Some people can't.
People just don't give it their all on Saturday.
Some people just can't recover. That's the thing.
give their all. I give them all for LSU.
Some people just can't recover. That's all it is.
I can tell you,
You were never much of a doubleheader guy, huh?
You couldn't last a day in my shoes on game day.
oh, dude, don't even compare to my.
You did
game
what
day.
I did?
I do what you do.
No, you don't.
Oh, I don't do the other stuff, but I last just as long. I drink a lot and I have a good time. I don't do the other extracurriculars that you do.
Missing out.
No, I'm not.
You don't want to hear the birds chirp, dude?
I do not. I do not. All right. With it being Wednesday, it is Ask Mikey and Mitch Day. I don't know. Do we have any questions in the chat?
I could check. I saw 2 so far.
We have a couple. I mean, we should have promoted it more, but we'll do a better job. Look, we're some bumps and bruises making our way.
Here's one. Right off the
Well,
jump.
hold on.
Okay.
Let me introduce the Ask Mikey and Mitch segment. Is brought to you by our friends at EFCO. They're EFCO Development is a civil construction company. They specialize in new multifamily construction. They're based out of Lafayette. With hurricane season right around the corner, you may need their services. They specialize in site drainage, site utilities, earthwork, site clearing, house pads, ponds, demo work, and hurricane cleanup. If you're a builder or you're a home builder or you're trying to, housing market's not great right now, but if you're still building houses and you need somebody to do the civil construction part of your job and you want to sub it out and you want them to move the dirt, EFCO Development, they're your people. Really great service, good people. They've done it for a really long time. They've been around the business for a while and have had a lot of success. If you're interested and you give them a call at 337-534-4675, that number is 337-534-4675. Okay, Ask Mikey and Mitch, brought to you by EFCO Development. Let's hear it.
Okay. I'll give you one second. Play a little music. Get the vibe going. First one up is, what would you say to the fans that lose their mind if they don't get Colin Simmons or Caden Durham? I feel like Caden Durham feels like he's in the boat, but this is more a Colin Simmons question. Obviously, LSU is pretty much well known for their melt on any recruiting day, signing day, or commitment date. The boards go nuts.
We've had this conversation before, right? Because when we first started the show, we went through our first football season, and we felt like Brian Kelly was missing out on some of these recruits. Listen, every year there's a recruit where he's a generational recruit. You can't miss him. Can't miss him. If you miss him, this guy can't leave Louisiana, or we have to get this guy. He's a generational guy. Yes, they're all very talented. There's a lot of other guys that are talented too. Maybe not as talented, but there are other guys that you are going to fill that position with, and you're going to bring these other talented guys in. They're going to be really good, and they're going to do a really good job for LSU. So just because you miss on one or two guys does not mean that the sky is falling. Because there are other athletes that are going, and who knows, maybe this guy isn't. I'm not saying he's not going to be. I think he's going to be very good, but maybe he's not going to be as good as everybody says he was. I've seen 5 stars that were, this guy is a can't-miss prospect and does not turn out to be as good as advertised. And so if you don't get them, it's okay. It's okay.
I would say you would love to have them. They're obviously physically unbelievable kids and a lot of room to still grow and go. I don't know anything about their makeup, but I would imagine they're probably really good kids. But I would say if you don't get them, I would put a lot of money on there still being 100,000+ people in the stadium on Saturdays. And I would also touch to the other side of how many teams do you think are beating themselves over the head because they didn't sign Justin Jefferson?
Right.
Kid came to school as a 2-star to LSU. My point to that is you get here and you develop. It doesn't matter what the star is. You have an opportunity to make yourself into a real player. So would you love to have the guys that have immense amount of physical talent? Yes, but that doesn't mean everything. And so get them here, great. If you don't, it's okay, because that just opens the door for someone else to come in and do what they need to do. Really that simple.
Agreed.
Lloyd? I stopped keeping up with recruiting a long time ago because I was never – oh, man, Coach, you should have seen me in high school. It was
well, that's different. I think everybody – I paid attention to recruiting a lot more in high school just because I was kind of part of it.
Not that much, though. But
yeah. You didn't even recall your own recruiting.
You were about to say this. I knew you were going to say that.
I was kind of part of it, right? Like, I was trying to get recruited, so I wanted to know what all those guys were doing and where they were going. So I get that. But, I mean, you're still more tapped in than I am. A little bit more tapped in than I am.
Oh, in high school, I was the first kid to get a laptop so I could follow Russell Shepard's recruiting. No, it was the droppings. But Russell Shepard's recruiting.
Rivals.
I was watching. Yes, Rivals was huge then.
Yep.
I had my teacher watching the commitment live on my laptop behind me. He was like, "Wait, let's see."
He was all for it.
Oh yeah, but
Nice.
just that one day, he's like, "I get it. You're not even caught. Just put it on the big screen."
All right. What's the next one?
Next one up. Oh, fun one. What would be your last meal?
I've actually thought about this question. Someone's asked this before. I know exactly. The answer is in my head. So my last meal would be my mom's spaghetti and meatballs, right? But I will make her go back and make the meatballs like she used to make instead of cheating and getting them from this place in Lafayette that makes them very similar to how she did it. Her spaghetti and meatballs, they're fire. That would be my last meal.
That's fair. I would it didn't take me long to think about this one. I would have to go with my mom's. My mom's gumbo is unbelievable. I'm just going to be honest with y'all.
Love
her gumbo is unbelievable.
She put okra in or no okra?
No.
Okay, love that.
But all the fixings.
Yeah, all the fixings.
Yeah, it's something special. So I would have to, if I had to go with a last meal, I'm gonna go there.
I'm curious.
And I would go with like the freshly cooked pot too, not the,
oh yeah.
Don't get me wrong, her like freezer gumbo still really, because but
here's the deal. Sometimes gumbo.
No, that's why I'm saying it. That
old gumbo.
No, that's why I'm saying it, because hers is still really, 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 like, I'm talking like crazy good. But for some reason, I don't know, the fresh cooked ones.
I get it. I feel that.
Smelling it for 3 hours and all of a sudden, yeah. So,
is it ready yet? Can I have a bowl? Let me have a taste.
Let me taste it.
What's yours, Lloyd? I'm curious.
Oh, my dad does this dish that he learned from his mother. We call it sticky chicken. So you You shallow fry it first, and like get bread it, whatever. Fry it just a little bit, just to, you don't all the way fry it. Then you put it in the oven, so it's getting a little fried. Then it gets like sticky. It sticks to the tin foil and the thing, and he does homemade mashed potatoes.
So you put the foil in the oven? In the oven or the microwave? You said oven?
You said oven.
I thought you said microwave.
No, we're not microwaving.
I was about to say.
God. I mean, houses y'all burned down.
No,
I was like, Jesus.
Okay, so foil in the microwave
oven,
or in your mouth.
Oven.
In the oven. So then you I guess you bake it for 35 minutes, and it comes out like you get both the fried and like the baked effect.
Do you put that with any on the top of rice or anything?
And
or
does mashed potatoes.
Okay.
And you make the gravy from the chicken that you fried.
I like it.
Okay.
I feel like if you ask that question to we're all Louisiana boys, man. You ask that question to
steak
outside of state, not even state. Oh man, Roots Chris, man, like something. You're gonna get something commercial. All Louisiana boys hey man, at the crib, man. At the crib,
what I grew up with is what I'm getting. Now, mom's rice and gravy is a close second, but it's the spaghetti and meatballs, baby.
I like that.
Hell yeah. Next one up, another one from Fonz. Have you seen the YouTuber Eric Sim, the guy that's he's pretends to be
He did it at the baseball lab, performance lab.
Yes, that's what it is. It's him trying to hit off Paul Skeens. You just wonder if y'all have seen it or not.
I have seen it.
Seen parts of it, a little bit of it, I think.
Look, he does a good job of putting out this fun content. It's awesome that they have technology that you can do that. You can put in the spin rate and do this stuff so it simulates the same type of pitch shapes and how it comes out. I still think it's a lot harder to do it off the machine than it is in person because you don't have the guy in rhythm and rotation and his wind up and be able to time that out just kind of shooting out of a slot. And
I'm about to say a very advanced, if you will, fastball, a very top tier fastball. If you're trying to duplicate that coming out of a machine, it is so hard to take a real swing and to not be super jumpy, and it's way, as weird as it sounds, it's way harder to hit that than it is to actually hit, quote unquote, hit off of Paul Skeens.
Yep.
And that doesn't dumb down hitting off of Paul Skeens. Just
harder to get your timing.
Feel.
Yeah, it's Mikey would tell you when you use fastballs out of a machine, you want to be able to get velo out of it, but you also want to be able to not have to cheat and jump and fly open to get to it. You're almost better hitting breaking balls and good breaking balls because you get to see shape of that and how they spin and how they move without that surprise factor as soon as it comes out of the machine. Because that's what a really good fastball makes you do out of a machine. So
no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. We have any more? Or is that
Yeah,
it?
no, we got more.
Let's go.
They're rolling in. Let's get my mistake of the day ready. Downloading. From Carl the Cat.
Carl the Cat.
The Cat.
In the chat, baby.
Ask him if he sees him when I blow at him in the mornings.
Asking him, why is Skeens going to pitch in Rookie League tomorrow, and how long till the Pirates move him up through the minors?
Why is he? Is that what the question is? Why? I don't know why. It's probably just to get him out there again. He's probably not going to throw a ton. It's not for – this isn't for, hey, show me what you can do. This is for, hey, let's get you back – let's get your arm back in shape. So it seems like he may pitch this year. Whether it be, a few games. Maybe they just want to get him out there with some teammates and just kind of be in the fold of professional baseball. But, I'm still in that camp of I don't think that he needs to pitch in the minor leagues. If they want him to get used to a routine, maybe that's why. So this year is going to be wherever he ends up this year has no bearing on where he's going to be next year. I think this is all just him keeping his arm alive.
I think they may be building that case for. Call me crazy. It could possibly happen. But I think they may be building that case for opening day. He's in Pittsburgh. Not starting opening day, obviously,
right.
But in Pittsburgh. You may see him throw a little bit here. You may see him even touch, possibly, maybe throw in the fall league or something. Maybe throw in the fall league or something. And then
now here's
this
the deal.
is the case for
if he throws in the fall league, I think he makes a team out of camp next year.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so
I think they're building the case for hey, we want you to get just a little touch and feel here. If it goes well, you're healthy, you feel good about it. Maybe you go to the fall league, you throw 2 to 3 innings at a time. You come back to camp, you work through camp, and then all of a sudden you're one of those kids that makes the opening day roster.
Yeah.
And there's no goofy looks about it, and everybody understands what's going on, and maybe it goes that way. The only way he doesn't make the
only way he doesn't make the opening day roster, and I think that would be a very Pittsburgh Pirate thing to do, is so that they keep him for an extra year.
And I think it would. And
You get penalized for that now,
you
though.
do. And I think it would be also like the same part about like us keep talking about him being in the big leagues, like making the opening day roster or being in the big leagues really, really, really early next year. I think you catch a lot of flack if he doesn't throw it all this year and only maybe throws in camp, and then he gets there and for some crazy reason a month in the season he's got a 5 or a 6. And then now you're sitting there being like, oh, man, should we have gotten him some seasoning? Should we not have? You know, there's a whole bunch of questions.
No doubt. And look, if a team wants to think that way on it, I get that. For me, a guy of that caliber and of that makeup, if he struggles a little bit early in the big leagues, you let this guy figure it out. That's like he's the guy you should be able to figure it out in the big leagues.
No, I'm
with
saying,
you.
yeah, like, and I guess to that same point, if you want to talk about that caliber and that makeup, well, if you know he's healthy now, if you feel like he's going, what would it hurt for him to go out there and throw 50 pitches, sit 45 pitches or whatever, and sit through the rest of this quote unquote season? Right. So there's both sides to it, but I do think they're building a case for him to make the opening day roster by getting him out there right now.
I hope he does.
Me too. He hasn't struggled in a long time.
But I don't want to see
that
him
would be a
struggle.
very foreign feeling to him.
I don't want to see him struggle. Just keep going, kid.
Next one up, and I guess in spirit of Dylan Cruz going yard also for the first time and now the second time with his grand slam, what was the feeling you felt after you hit your first professional league home run?
In minor league baseball? I was,
minor league or professional, whole major league?
So my first minor league home run, I told you, was in May. I had a really good year. Up to that point, I was hitting like 3 something with, a good amount of doubles, but not any homers. And I was in Florida State League. It's a hard league to hit home runs in, and I hit opposite field homer, right center field, and it was like just relief. Like it was a joke in the locker room that I hadn't gotten one, and it was a big relief that I had hit the homer, and it was exciting, but more of a relief. In the big leagues,
treatment?
Huh? No, not in minor leagues. In the big leagues, I did get the silent treatment. That was my first professional hit. Like my first major league hit was a home run, and but we were getting our ass kicked in Toronto, so like kind of lost a little luster. But I was hoping that I was just running around the bases the right way and didn't want to like look like an idiot.
Yeah. Done this a million times, but not like here.
I kind of got like a little bit of silent treatment. It did happen that year, the first year I signed in A-ball, but I think I had gone like a good 2 weeks, and I'm talking barreling up everything, hitting a whole bunch of balls hard, and I also wasn't hitting balls out. And so everybody's like, bro, you don't hit homers? Like, what's going on here? And then so I finally hit one, and I got a little bit of the silent treatment. But I don't know. I think I had more of a feel for your first professional hit than I did even homer. Like just getting there and being like, yeah, I'm here. Like that kind of felt more than the homer thing. So it was just, I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah, I could do it. A little bit of a relief.
When I signed, our deadline was August 15th. So I didn't sign and then play like Dylan's doing. Like they only had 2 weeks left of the minor league season. So what I did was I went to the facility, the high A facility, and I worked out there for the 2 or 3 weeks. And then I was not on the active roster. And then I went back to instructional league, and then I went to the Arizona Fall League. That was my first professional games, and these games don't count, right? But the scouts are there, and it's against high. Like in that same year,
they don't count, but they count more.
They count, right? Yeah, like and they don't count on the back of your baseball card, but like people are watching you. You're playing against big leaguers, guys who had a taste of the big leagues or right about to be in the big leagues. Like when I was there, Harper and Trout were in that same league. This one, Trout had gotten called up and then got sent down. This one, they found out he had that thyroid issue, and he was like ended up losing a bunch of weight, couldn't keep the weight on. The whole deal, right? And so I ended up playing in that league for the first time, and that was my first taste of professional baseball, which was awesome. A little unrealistic of the minor leagues because that's not how the minor leagues work, especially at the lower levels. But I played really well, hit like 340, and played extreme. Made like the Rising Stars game. Didn't play, I had a little tight hammy, so it's the same day of the 2011
National Championship.
Nope, the first Alabama LSU game.
Oh, November.
It was November 9th. I had a tight hammy.
Had to go home
very
to get
unfortunate.
treatment?
No, I stayed in Arizona. I was there. It was very unfortunate.
Yeah.
But
how long did you think about that?
I was out for about a week.
Okay.
With that little missed thing, but I played really well. So that was my first experience, and that kind of gave me a lot of confidence say what Jared was saying, like, oh, I'm here, I've made it, here we go.
I guess you do have to stay out for more than just like one day. You can't be like.
I really didn't fake it. I really did have a tight head. If people were like, dude, you just wanted to watch the game, I was like, I promise you, no. I mean, yeah, I want to watch the game, but like,
I would play if I could.
Yes, I was. This is Arizona Fall League's my first year of professional baseball. Like, I'm not trying to blow out a hammy right now. So, yeah. Okay, next.
Oh, since we're talking gumbo over rice, potato salad.
Rice.
Yeah, I've never
All
had the
day.
potato
My wife
salad.
loves the rice and the potato salad.
Yeah, we do a sweet potato.
I don't like potato salad, so.
I'm not a
Never done
potato salad guy.
I don't even eat
Give
it
it
by
to me
itself.
over rice
Rice.
all day.
Oh, Carl
4
Dunn.
times on Sunday.
Tell Jay Mitch, yeah, I do most of the time. Fawn's filling up the question bracket. Ask him, if not baseball, what was your dream job as a kid?
Football.
Sports.
I mean, football, but if sports wasn't in the equation, I was going to be a lawyer. That's what I wanted to do.
I wanted to be a lawyer because I just loved the thought of arguing. So I
Me
was
too.
like all about it. Yeah.
I said that if I had not, if I didn't, even if I played sports in college and didn't get the opportunity to play professionally, I was going to go to law school. That's what I want to do.
Knowing what you know now about lawyers, would you still want to go?
I'd go and get my joint MBA and law degree is what I would do.
Like your cousin and your cousin.
That's what I would do. And then I would,
It's not arguing. It's just a bunch of paperwork.
Yeah, of course.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
But when you're a kid, it's like being a firefighter.
Yeah. The argument part of it is very.
It's not
it's a
serious.
Yeah, you want to be a trial. You want to be a trial attorney.
Yeah, of course.
Pro bono.
Yeah, no.
No.
Franklin
no
and Bash.
Yeah. Oh, what a show. Great intro.
Better
Great
call
intro.
Saul.
Yeah. Hey, bro, yeah. Go work those cases. Cheap coffee. That's it.
That's all, folks, for Ask Mikey and Mitch. We are going to do a better job of promoting this again. Obviously, we were in transition.
Yeah, we're all in flux.
Yeah, we're good though. We're getting a lot closer.
Moves.
We're making things happen, look a little bit better. But before we go off the air, before we get to the segments, let's talk a little bit more about the LSU football stuff. We don't have to show any more clips because I know it was crushing the little intranet we got going on.
I don't know. I got to get on the Wi-Fi. I don't know what's going on.
The Wi-Fi?
The Wi-Fi.
We're working on it. There are how many days left until the first game? 3 weeks, right?
That'd be 21. But I think it's 25 because they put a
25, right?
OT
Because it's
over
next
Josh
on
Reed.
Sunday. It'll be
On
on
Sunday,
Sunday.
it'll
It'll
be
be
3
3
weeks,
weeks. So it's right. I mean, it's here. It's like this is like after about 10 more days, 10, 11 more days, you're gonna start like actual like game prep.
Yeah.
Like you're starting to put some stuff in. Hey, you're starting to watch some film on Florida State. Yeah.
Put that 2 weeks in.
This is exciting. What?
We start.
I thought you were about to put your 2 weeks in.
No,
Like,
yeah, on
quit
the air.
show.
That's how I
Jesus,
would do
dude.
it.
Don't love that.
No, I wouldn't leave you boys out to dry.
I don't know, would you?
No, love being here.
I hope not. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of really cool things. A lot of things that we've dreamt.
Terrible.
A lot of things we've dreamt about and we talked about and we kind of envisioned happening is starting to happen.
They're all coming together.
And the fact that you bounce right before that would happen
Wouldn't make much sense.
That wouldn't make a lot of sense
No,
at all.
not fiscally or just have personal enjoyment. It's hard to shovel the shit and not get to see the smile.
I'd really give you the
We hadn't had too much
people's
shit
eyebrow.
though. Let's be real. We
I'd
had
give you
some.
the people's eyebrow if that's what you chose to bounce.
But does he know that I don't? Nothing.
One of the things that Brian Kelly said in his presser, we don't have to play the clip, was he talked about Jaden Daniels, similar to what Jay Johnson talked about with Dylan Cruz coming into his last year, right? When Dylan got here, he was just a really good player and just kind of quiet, kind of did the whole freshman thing. The next year, he wasn't much of a vocal guy. He just kind of led by example. And his junior year, he took more of a vocal leadership role. And I think you saw that on the field. You saw him be a little bit more emotional and passionate, and I think that the team kind of bought into that and like gravitated towards that. Brian Kelly says the same thing about Jaden Daniels, right? He's taking more of a vocal leadership role, and I think that comes with being a lot more comfortable here. This is his second year. He had a lot of success last year. He battled through a lot of people that were kind of patched together at the last minute trying to figure this thing out, and he was able to bring them closer together. I think he gained a lot of respect on how he managed the team and how he went through that season. And, played through an ankle injury, and now he's kind of earned that right to become that vocal leader. He's one of the best players on the team, and so I think that's a huge step forward for LSU, especially with your quarterback is being so he's so he welcomes that challenge of being that vocal leader. I don't know if that's just me being the whole I'm very optimistic and like, you know, happy about that kind of stuff, but I think that goes a long way.
Well, I mean, obviously it plays well if your quarterback can do it, but you can literally look across the board, and I think it bodes well for any team, for guys that get comfortable in the right way, obviously, because there is a such thing as getting comfortable in the wrong way, right?
Right.
But guys that get comfortable in the right way and accept the new challenges that are brought to them and the new, I guess, obstacles coaching staff and people are asking you to tackle, and you accept those things and you can graciously do them, I think it bodes well for the entire roster. So if we're talking about one, obviously the quarterback spot being the most important, if we can get that there, that's only got to bode well for what you're going to get production-wise, not only out of him but out of the entire offense as well.
What do you think?
I think it's a long time coming, especially with, it feels like he finally got I wouldn't say like the vote of confidence from the coaching staff, but also the way he had to hit the ground running coming into the 2022 season. It was a lot of trying to figure it out on the fly.
Right,
Like he didn't really have the opportunity to be like, I'm the quarterback, I'm coming into, like, it's like, you don't have to listen to me. Nobody knew who he was. You saw the way he departed Arizona State with, they threw his placard on the ground and the way he left. I just thought, like, he didn't really have the chance to be a vocal leader. So having a full offseason under his belt, being able to be with the team throughout spring, now fall, him being named the starter early on, I think that it's just right for him to be able to kind of take on that mindset as the quarterback, as a leader. And you see him talking about, I want to leave my mark at LSU. I want to be one of those people that's able to, like, bring a national championship, bring a Heisman, all of those accolades. I think he gets it, and I think that Brian Kelly has full trust in him, and I think he thinks he's going to thrive in the offense, so it's only right.
That's cool you said that, because I was literally going to say, like, my bold prediction is, I'm not saying game 1, game 3, I don't know. What I am saying, though, is by the end of the slate of the year, you're going to see a Jaden Daniels that gets the flowers that he pretty much should have been getting since the start of last year, because of what he was able to come and do, the storm he weathered, how he actually progressed that offense, and then what you'll see from him in year 2. I do think you'll see someone getting the flowers that he deserves of the work and the production that he's put in here.
Especially with this, like, the way this fan base has kind of treated him. It hasn't really been fair to him, because everybody is enamored with how they want him to play as opposed to how he is playing.
Right, exactly. And that's a great point.
And he's like, he got caught in the wrong storm in the sense of, you play it after when it's all said and done, you're going to be playing pretty much right after one of the probably best quarterbacks that came through here, but maybe even NFL football.
He's top 10 NFL player right now. Like, he got rated top 5.
Top 6, I think.
Yeah, I think he was 6th.
Top 10 for sure.
Yeah. And so, like, it's his 4th year in the NFL. Like, you know, you're following that, you know, and I mean, you saw it on stuff with Mahomes. Like, Mahomes and Joe Burrow, like, the matchups they're about to have throughout the course of the next 15 years, hopefully, is going to be legendary, right?
Nobody wants to be Mac Jones. You don't want to be the guy that follows Brady. Like, no matter what you do.
Right. And look, Mac may go out this year and have a good year and make it to playoff run.
Obviously, we're not privy to what goes on in Patriots land, but I'd imagine that it's not easy being Mac Jones.
No. Right.
I low-key feel bad for him, too, because that division is
tough, especially with New York being
unreal, especially with New York being well. I mean, even before, because their defense was real.
Yeah.
By the
way, I thought about you and I didn't text you when I was watching it. Al Jones, dude.
Al Woods.
Oh my God.
I mean, Al Woods. Al Woods. He's everywhere.
He's great.
He just popped. He was in Seattle, and then you're like, is he still playing? I haven't seen him. And you see him on Hard Knocks with the Jets, taking the mic, getting some screen time. He's gonna have a 15-year career.
You know what? You know what the best part about Al Woods is like, one, he came in here and he was always a dude that was willing to take the coaching and learn and get better and keep pushing. And so, what he is physically God-given, blessed with, the size that he is. Let me just tell you what, that's what they look like when they say 15 years in the league, right? But what's allowed him also to do it outside of the size is, like I said, the guy's so super receptive, super likable. He works his butt off, and you're seeing the fruits of it now. If you asked, and during that time span he was here, which defensive lineman at LSU would have the longest career, I don't think he would have been the answer, just based off of stats alone.
Right.
He's blown everyone out of the
water.
water.
It hadn't been close.
He's blown every one of them out of the water. And
I mean, he's played longer than guys that came after him.
And it couldn't happen to a better dude.
No,
he is
right.
awesome.
Played against him in high school.
He is awesome.
That was a mismatch.
Yeah. Well, actually, they were 1A. They weren't very good. We ran the toss, so we
It was
just
still a mismatch for you, though. Like, if you had to come in contact with that guy.
No, if you ever get a chance, if you ever watched his high school tape, I'm like, it literally, as soon as they pan the camera to the field, you're like, what is that? You don't belong on the same field as him.
Right. Triple team. Doesn't matter.
You saw in the report that they're moving Perkins around now.
Yes.
Right? Because he's been playing majority middle linebacker, probably like the inside linebacker, playing the guy who's making the calls, doing everything. Now they put him on some edge. They put him off the end. Like, they're moving him around. I think I like that, right?
No,
like,
we love it. We need to see it be a thing where in game
comes to fruition.
Yes.
No. That in game he can take the call, he
Right.
can line up correctly, he can do the assignment right and go for it. That's the progression of it, right? Is we know that's what we want because now you can't game
Right.
plan him out of the game, right? So that's the part we want to see.
Because that's what he needed to work on. You saw him getting worked in and worked in more in the middle, like the latter half of the season. You saw it against Georgia where he seemed a little confused. Balls were going over his head, behind him. Like that wasn't his natural position. You give him an offseason to work on it, the man can pick up anything. He played both sides of the ball at 6'8" Texas, so I think he's got the capability. I think he was just kind of thrown into the fire last year of like,
no doubt.
whoa, this is going a little fast for me. I wasn't really playing defense.
And he played great.
Right,
Yeah.
No, but you let him do what he did great, and then he got a little exposed because he's never done it before. But
How long do you
one
think?
year-
How long do you think it's going to take Mason Smith to feel?
Hundy?
I don't say 100 because I think he's 100% physically, but you have to trust yourself that you're going to be okay.
I think that first time somebody maybe either goes low on him or somebody maybe rolls up on him and he comes up okay.
Like in game or like in practice?
In
or?
game. I
Okay.
think in game. Because it's a different feeling game, like obviously,
absolutely.
it's just different. I think the first time someone either maybe goes down to block him low, maybe he gets rolled up from behind, and he's able to get up and he's okay. I think that's when it's all right, I'm good to go.
Right.
I think that's about the time it happens.
I kind of think Quincy Wiggins is going to be a monster this year. I think he's going to do something like – he's going to do similar to stuff that like Harold Perkins did last year. Hey, you're so athletic and you're just a freak. Just go on the end and get to the quarterback.
go play.
And I don't care if you know everything. You're not going to play every game, every snap at defensive end right now, especially early on in the season, but go get the ball.
Well, the
If
truth
you
of
see
the
the
matter,
guy with the ball, go get
hey,
it.
the truth of the matter is that's going to be contingent on Harold. Like, can Harold bounce around and play different spots?
So he could do that.
To open it up to be free to say, Quincy, bro, we're
Yeah.
going to line you up right here.
Yeah.
They already
You got
worried
one
about them
job.
two. Go ahead and get him.
For sure.
Him
Like,
and-
that's going to be contingent on him. So he's a big part of that.
And Savion Jones and Deshaun Womack. You're going to see all those guys come off.
Well,
the
they're putting
edge.
Deshaun Womack a lot of jack.
Yeah.
You know, so, I mean, it's going to be –
There's a chance that LSU's defense is special.
yes. Front
is.
seven for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Now, there's a lot of guys that got to go out there and prove it, but for sure.
Yeah, I think you're right about Quincy. There's going to be some times where you look up at it, like a 3rd and 8, and you see him lined up on the edge. You're like, he can make a play right here. Where
Right.
it's
Like,
oh,
he's
and
going to
there's
do
be
something.
Who's
hey,
that?
Dude, hey, dude, listen, everybody else is good. This is your job right now.
Somebody's
And
gonna try to get
this
away
is how
from
you
him.
earn more snaps by doing this really well.
Yeah.
And then we'll work on the other shit.
Like I said, I think it's always a good thing when you can literally sit here and talk about 7, 8, 9 dudes up front who could possibly make a big impact this year, right? I love that part of it. My only little bit of a worry is how
Experience.
quickly does it come together.
Right. Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely. And we're going to have a huge test. First game of the season.
do.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's it.
Run it back.
All right. Another good show.
Another good show.
Just plugging away. You know,
what we do.
stacking one day at a
What we
time.
do.
Swinging that axe.
All right. With the show,
Comes the
Seggies.
segments.
first seggy, which I went to Doe's. No, that's not Doe's. This is Doe's. I went to Doe's Eat Place today for lunch,
in the
and
mirror.
boy, let me tell you, was it good. I brought 2 friends there that had never been there. Especially, maybe been there once before for dinner, never been there for lunch. Convinced them to get the burger. Can't stop raving about the food there. Can't stop raving about
Fries.
just everything that they got, right? We got the tamales, we went for the whole deal. And we had a really good time. The food was amazing.
Did you get a burger too?
Oh, yeah.
3 burgers all around?
Oh yeah. No, 2 of us got burgers, the other guy got a one of the hot chicken sandwich.
Oh yeah, also fire.
Regretted. He loved it, but
saw the
took
burger.
a bite of the burger and realized I should have gotten the burger.
That's when you go like, can I get one to go?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But really good. So Mistake of the Day is brought to you by our friends down at Dozy Place. If you've never tried them, if you've never been there, go give them a shot. If you've never had it for lunch, you're missing out. Give them an opportunity. All right.
Our Mistake of the Day. Shout out. It was Jay Mitch's curtain call, which was the Gonzalez team coming back from the win. I did not see the video of how it happened. There is a turd amongst, I don't even know who they played, but the way this man disrespected baseball.
Wow.
Bat flip.
99.
Then he sits on third.
Oh my God.
That's aggressive.
That's a lot.
And then now he's on the mound.
Oh.
So it was 7-4.
This is the guy who walked in the.
Now they take him out. Little turd.
Wow, they took him out. Got humbled real quick. This game will humble you.
Yep. He gives the old hat toss. Oh shucks, Dad.
I don't think that's what he said.
And then
Bring in
this
the
guy
reliever,
walks on.
3-2
walk.
walk. Louisiana wins with class.
Stomp. That's good.
But I didn't know that that's how it ended. I know this kid was doing kumbaya on third
I
base.
did not know. I didn't know that either. That's tough.
Nothing beats the one little league pitcher that shakes off the pitch with the, and then gives him the.
Yeah, that's
Oh
it.
yeah.
And
Kids hit
then-
an absolute mile. There is no better video. That's unbelievable. That's great.
I can't believe he just sat Indian style on third base.
I'm telling you, if you're a major leaguer, these kids are watching.
I thought you were gonna do the Nick Saban one on there. And the Mistake of the Day in the doc.
What did I even put? I just Marcus sent me that video, and I was like,
Nick Saban brought in this controversial MLB legend. To speak
oh,
his
how
band
great
team.
is that?
I didn't even see it.
What happened?
No, I didn't have the video, but Nick Saban thought it was wise with all of the gambling allegations, especially around Alabama. He brings in Pete Rose, the one and only, to talk to the players about gambling and why you shouldn't do it on your own sport.
Well, I guess that's a good person to do it. I mean,
Pete Rose didn't apologize for that at all.
Yeah, but I mean,
but
he can still speak to
reprimanded
he can
for
still
it.
speak to like, hey, this is what happens if you don't, if you do it, and you get
He
caught.
could end up like me, and I'm still out there gambling.
No,
I mean,
well,
he's not contrite.
This guy's
at all.
signing stuff like it's a good. I don't.
Pete's talking out one side of his mouth. He on the other, and he's like, "Look, gambling's awesome."
Speaking of,
But-
and this will go into my other part of my curtain call, so I'm gonna get to that. It's another Nick Saban deal. I don't have the picture on it. Actually, I should try to find it.
With this house,
Yes. Did you see
$7.2
that?
million right next to Tiger Woods.
Did you see that? It's unbelievable. That's a good mistake of the day. That was a good one. I'm glad you brought that one out. That was perfect mistake of the day.
I mean, baseball.
The game will look. You can have fun and you can celebrate. When you do things a little bit maybe too far, the game will humble you. Baseball gods.
They'll wake up
are
for children.
unforgiving. They are unforgiving. All right.
It is a game of failure.
Curtain call brought to you by our friends here at Assured Partners
And
me. For all your insurance needs, give me or Frankie Harris a call, and we'd be more than happy to show you our creative insurance programs that we can do to help you with your insurance dilemma. What you got something to say?
No.
Okay.
I was going to say, before you say your curtain call, what did it's going to be Nick Saban's house.
Well, it's
Jim,
not as part of it, but
I just wanted to see if you could guess how much it cost.
you already said the number.
7.2.
17.2.
Oh, I didn't know if I said. I don't think I said it out loud.
I think you did.
Oh, I just read it.
17.2.
I
All
was
right.
only 10 million off.
Yeah.
Curtain call is brought to you by our friends at Assured Partners. Go ahead.
This one literally just happened not too long ago, but this one speaks, and it's August, middle of August, about to be the middle of August. Weston Wilson, catcher, Phillies, 17th round draft pick in 2016, 2,836 plate appearances in the minors, has his first plate appearance in the big leagues today, and homer's net appearance.
Awesome.
Baseball gods.
Baseball gods. You do the right stuff,
and
you get rewarded.
family are in attendance in the crowd, and there's video footage of his dad crying in the stands.
That's awesome. How old is he?
I'm not sure.
But that's good for him.
2016 draft.
Yeah.
Almost 3,000 appearances.
I'm
plate
sure a
appearances
college
in-
kid probably.
Yeah, probably a college kid. If I would imagine, he's probably 28-ish.
Yeah.
somewhere in there. Pretty cool.
Good for
Really
him.
cool.
Still
That's
great
awesome.
stories out there.
That's awesome.
And there's still
Lloyd?
baseball being played. If everything,
There is still baseball being played, yes.
My curtain call goes to. Let me pull it up. Mine was to Paul Skeens. I didn't know I figured we were going to talk about it, but I didn't think we were going to talk about it that much. But Paul Skeensy getting hot, gets his pro debut on Thursday. I didn't know it was only going to be 6 pitches. I thought he was going to get. I don't know why. I thought he was going to throw more than that, maybe an inning. But it's all coming together for the LSU National Championship team, where you see Dugas get a home run, you see Dylan Cruz get off to a
Jobert.
scorching. Trey Morgan.
Homer.
Homer.
And I think he's in that league too.
He just got called up, they said.
Yeah, but who did he get? So he's in that same Florida Complex League.
Yeah.
It used to be Florida Gulf Coast League. It's not anymore. It's the Florida Complex League. Same league, just different name.
So I guess it's a curtain call to all of the LSU
They're all
minor
doing it.
leaguers that are, fresh off of a national championship appearance. Baseball keeps rolling, and they are rolling
Confidence
right
is
with
riding
it.
high.
Yes.
Confidence is riding high. Everybody knows you when you show up. They want to talk to you about it. You have a noteworthy name. Like, confidence is high. That's a good place for them to be in.
Second curtain call.
Yep, there it is.
Since it's to Barstool Mincy. Got his job back.
Yeah, well,
Dave Portnoy
bought the company back
for $1.
There's a lot of
Moving parts.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that go into that. I don't think it's obviously paid for $1. I think that there's other stipulations that are involved with this buyback of the company, but part of it is PENN is now the official sports book of ESPN.
And if Dave Portnoy or Barstool Sports can't operate with any other gambling arenas, like they can't go to another gambling company for a deal, but they have the Barstool Sports book, so they're not worried about that. And if he ever does sell it again,
they get 50%.
They get 50%, and he said that you're gonna have to pull it from my cold dead hands. So
they would probably do that.
Yeah, or he's gonna give it to Dave or KFC.
What?
Like, he's just gonna hand it down. Like, it's never gonna leave Barstool. He's gonna hand it off to Dave.
Right.
To Big Cat or
KFC,
Clancy.
or both of them.
Yeah.
All of them. Yeah.
Little New York,
there you go.
Chicago.
My curtain call is to, we've talked about football. I think yesterday was a really good, let's jump into football day, because you had two really, awesome things that were put on TV. You had Hard Knocks, which kind of gets you ready for NFL. And you had the Johnny Manziel documentary get released on Netflix, which really gets you locked in, like college football, the energy, the passion, everything, right? So that's one, right? And then you see, our rival in the SEC West is Alabama. People talk about Alabama and talk about Nick Saban, like, oh, Nick hasn't taken vacation his entire career. He takes a 2-week vacation to Europe, and he goes to Italy, and he does all this stuff, right? And he comes back. Oh, Nick Saban looks like he's, kind of on his way out, doing all this stuff. And now you see Nick buy this $17.2 million mansion in Jupiter right next to Tiger Woods. It is awesome. Here's a couple things about this. One, house is amazing. If you have it, go and do it. I have no problem with him doing it. Nick Saban is 70-something? 70-something years old, right? 76 years old?
Should be 3. He's in the 70s.
He's in the 70s, right? That's a big old house to buy at that point in your life. Like, is he going to enjoy it? Is he not going to be able to enjoy it? I think you should be able to enjoy it. So my current call is to him. Finally, hey, I can do this and still be a really good head football coach. Let me enjoy the fruits of my labor.
Yeah, do you think he finally looked at his bank account and was like, I could afford this 10 times over?
Coach, he has a bunch of stuff I think already he's bought, but
they're always
that's going to be his where he lives. I'd imagine at the end of his.
Tiger, can I get a couple swing tips?
Yeah, he's got his lake house.
He already doesn't really love his swing, so that's a good guy to live next to, kind of.
Yeah, because Tiger ain't playing a lot of golf.
Maybe Colby will start training him too.
Maybe
so.
Maybe.
All right.
Loosen them hips up.
Loosen them up.
They're fake.
Loosen them up. Great show today, boys. Good Wednesday show. We'll be back here live in studio on Friday from 1 to 3. If you enjoy our show and you got nothing going on, come scoot by Cards and Culture. We got the doors open. It's going to be live for anyone who wants to be part of it. We'll have some drinks. If you want to have, an adult beverage, come out and enjoy our company. We would love to have y'all in here. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The thumbs up button really does a lot of good for us. Helps us out a lot. If you can't watch us and you can only listen to us or anywhere you get your pods, we appreciate all the love and support, especially in this transition time. as we continue to grow to get where we need to be. In the next 4 or so months, you're going to see some really, really cool things happening here in the show. It's, we've been leading up to that. I want to give a shout out to Heineken. I want to give a shout out to Evco. I want to give a shout out to all of our sponsors that have given us the opportunity to do these types of things. One sponsor that, you know what car is becoming extremely popular, and you're starting to see it a lot more after you've gotten it, is the Defender.
I kind of like to do the lead wave thing, so it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Wait, what's that? Y'all got a secret handshake?
No,
the Defender, from Range Rover, I saw
I know,
a
but
commercial about it.
the Jeep Wave. I didn't know what you were talking about. I didn't know if there's like a Land Rover Wave. I should.
Well, I was just trying to,
There's always a Land Rover Wave, and that's why you should go on down on Airline Highway and check out our people over at Peretti. Great people, man. They're awesome.
I mean, they have
a lot more of these hats too.
Yeah, the products that they're putting out, like the cars they're putting out, and what they're doing to them. You look at Hard Knocks, Sauce Gardner. That's what he drives. Was it Sauce?
No. It was in a Jeep. It was a Jeep. It was.
No, it wasn't Sauce. I thought there was a Defender on that.
No, Garrett Wilson. He was in a Jeep.
He was in a Jeep. You're right. He was in a Jeep. But I've seen a bunch of Defenders. They're pushing the Defenders, and it's a car that I love it. You love it. You drive it. You look good in it.
It's good.
Yeah. So shout out to them. Appreciate their sponsorship, especially with football. There's gonna be a lot of really cool things I think that we're gonna be able to do tailgate wise with them. So give them a shout on Airline Highway. Go step in there, see what you got. Tell them we sent you. All right. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Or enjoy the rest of your week.
And your weekend.
And your weekend, whenever that comes. We'll see you again on Friday, live from 1 to 3 here from Cards and Culture. You're watching Mik'd Up. See you later. Have a good night. Peace.